Hi, let's take a detailed look at the minor 7+5 chord used as a passing chord in the mode where you have a suspension. I'm pretty sure that this happens to you all the time where you're playing and maybe you're holding a chord down and you just want to fill in a gap. You have empty space and you don't know what to do. You insert a passing chord there, and the minor 7+5 is a passing chord which, believe it or not, if you follow my technique, you can insert it anywhere in your playing. Just as an example, let's take a look at this minor 7+5, and here we have a G minor 7+5. Sounds pretty. And like I said, this is a passing chord which you can use anywhere at any time and call it up at will. Just for example, let's say you're playing and you happen to be on some chord. Doesn't matter what chord it is. Say we're here on this chord, which is an E flat chord, and you just want to play another chord. You have some empty space, you just want to make a change. Well, you can make that change by filling it in with the minor 7+5. And I said before, or in my course, that this is a picture chord. Picture chords are chords you just play immediately, chords that you have never ever played before. You're able to just put them in at will. So how do we make this minor 7+5 picture chord? So all we do is we simply look at what note we have in our melody. It's a B flat, and all we do to get to the minor 7+5, this is how you should be thinking in your head. Okay, you're going to go one octave. You're going to take this B flat and you're going to play an octave apart. Okay, an octave apart. And then you're going to go to the fourth of that octave, of that note. So the fourth of B flat is E flat, right there. So the next chord, to make the chord, you're going to play that octave, go to that fourth, and you're going to count up you're going to play 3 whole steps up from this note right here, the E flat. 3 whole steps, 3 notes in a row would be those 3 notes. But this last note here, don't play it. That's the note in the bass. That's the bass note. So if you think like that while you play, you should be able to make this chord at will anywhere you want immediately. So let's do it again. Let's say you were playing and you happen to be on this chord. Like I said, it doesn't matter what it is. This is an F chord. And you say, hey, I have some free space. I need to move to another chord. So in your mind, you're thinking, well, I don't know what the bass is yet, but I will in a second, because what I have to do is look at my right hand. I'm playing a G. So I know that I'm going to be playing an octave of G's. And I'm going to go to the fourth of G, which is C. And I'm going to go up a whole step, because I have to play 3 whole steps. The whole step up from C is D, and the next note, a whole step up, is E, which is the bass. So now I know the bass is E. I didn't know that before, but while I play, I figure that out. So that's the bass note, it's going to be E. So that's the change. Let's do that change from F to that minor 7+5. Sounds sweet. Like I said, never played it before, and this works for any chord. Let's say you're on a simple C chord, C, E, and G. Let's make the change. All you need to do is look at the keyboard. By the time you look at the keyboard, you know exactly how to move your hands. Just by looking at the keyboard, you can see that the bass is going to be E, and make the change immediately. I've never played that before, and you can play it. You're playing an octave. The fourth of G is C. Go up a whole step and play the D, and another whole step up is the bass. So like I said, these are the things that we tell you how to do in our course. Very useful technique. So this gives you're playing a lot of flavor. So that worked for the F chord, and we did that, and we ended up on a E. We did it on a C chord, and we ended up on a E. Oh, coincidence. Like I said, as you play, you need to change the way you think. There's no memorization. There's no transposing. There's another way to do it. You know, the traditional way would be to memorize that chord and transpose it to all 12 keys. No. There's a secret to it. There are lots of secrets. I mean, just say, for example, you were on this simple G flat chord, and I want to play that m7+5. Now I don't know what the bass is yet, but I will in a second. All I do is I say, okay, make the octave, go to the fourth, play up another whole step, and the bass is C. Oops, excuse me. Okay, so I am on G flat, make the octave, whole step, and the bass is B flat. Sorry. So I go from this G flat to this B flat. So it's easy to do. I've never played that chord before, that's why I messed up, but you'll get real good at it. So, like I said, it works for any chord. I mean, you could be on, say, let's just pick another random chord. Let's take this complicated chord, this B flat 13. Well, what's the next chord? If I wanted it to be a m7+5, all I do is I say, okay, I got a G on top, put that G on the bottom. I'm looking at the keyboard. A fourth of G is C. I see that on the keyboard. And a whole step up from C is D, and the bass is going to be E. So just by looking at the keyboard and watching what I'm doing, I can make that change from this B flat chord to this E chord. Like I said, I didn't know what the bass was beforehand. I am deciding this as I play. And that's how the system works. Get our course. You can't go wrong. The DVD course is phenomenal. Start out with the book written course, and that'll prepare you for the DVD course. Get the course. You can't go wrong. www.gospelchords.com. Now that you know that little trick, we can make that chord immediately in any key, no matter what the suspension is, no matter what note is on top. So say, for example, the note on top and your melody was a E. Let's quickly put our hand on the chord. Look at the keyboard. E is on the top. You know you're playing an octave. The E, the fourth of E is A. You know that a whole step up from A is B, and a whole step up from that is the bass. So the chord is this. So you can put your hand on it immediately just by knowing the picture of what it looks like. By the time your hand gets to the keyboard, you're playing it already. Let's do it for, say, for example, G. I can just see the keyboard just by visualizing it and looking at it. I can see that the bass is E. I got my octave. The fourth of G is C. Go up a step to the D. The bass is a step above that, the E. So like I said, I've never played the chord before, but I can put my hand right on it. So if I have, say, for example, an F on top, let's make that chord. Octaves, B flat, up a whole step, the bass is a whole step above that, the D. See how simple that it was? You can make the chord instantly. Imagine if you had, say for example, 10 or 20 of these, you'd be set. It's not as hard as you think. We got all the tricks. We don't hold anything back. Get the course. You can't go wrong. You can't beat playing this way.